Hello everyone. Today's topic we are going to discuss about different configurations coming under Scaled Agile Framework, essential large solution as well as a portfolio. In one of our previous video, we discussed about essential configuration at a high level on how we can go through and how we can start looking at the essential configuration. In today's video, we are going to discuss a little bit details about the essential configuration as well, along with the portfolio and large solution configurations. Let's quickly take a look at it. Before going into the video, I will start sharing what the essential configuration looks like, and then we will get started. So this is how the essential configuration looks like once we launch scaleagileFramework.com, where we have all the required roles, required team level configurations, which is Scrum, XP, as well as Scrum and XP, Kanban, program backlog, team backlogs, and Agile release train, the team level or the program level, which comes under the essential, will be displayed or will be reflected, will be showcased from the essential configuration perspective. And we have all the roles listed here, which starts with agile teams, the product owner, scrum master, where the team members include business and technology perspective. And at the program level, release train level, we have RTE, release train engineer, product management, and the system architect or engineer, and along with the business owners. Right. So this is what the essential configuration is all about. And this is all about a one single agile release train, where we start with the customer centricity, understanding the end user's perspective using design thinking tools and techniques. And then we will be defining the backlog using a program Kanban, prioritize it using WSGF, shortest job first, and take it to the PI planning. And once the team go through it, team start working on this continuous delivery pipeline using exploration, integration, deployment, and they'll be releasing the code based production using release on demand. Throughout this agile release train, the whole intention is to focus on delivering one single solution by taking the solution context as a baseline. Okay, so this is all about the essential configuration which we discussed in our earlier video as well. Now, if we take a look at the concepts, what is the essential configuration is, it is a basic configuration to start with the agile implementation in any organization, irrespective of whether it is a startup, large scale company, multinational company, or the company which have multiple solutions, multiple implementations. Essential is a basic recommended suggested configuration for any organization to start with implementation of the Scaled Agile framework. So when we say essential configuration, it has one agile release train where the 5 to 12 agile teams, we say 5 to 12 agile teams, the teams who are working on the same solution or product. It shouldn't be like the teams working on banking module, teams working on insurance module, teams working on retail module or telecom module will be brought together and formed as an agile release train. It won't give any benefit to any of the that's the reason it is recommended that identify the teams who can work together, who work on a common solution, common product, common implementation, and who can have collaboration, coordination among themselves and bring them together as a form of agile release train. When we say 5 to 12 agile teams, it might be converting into 50 to 125 team members. Right? So we know that each team has a limited set of team members. So when we do the conversions, it could be coming as 50 to 125 team members as well. Why 5 to 12 teams or why 50 to 125? That is all based upon the Dunbar number, which showcases the example of how the coordination communication happens between the individuals within the group, within the program, within the implementation. That is taken as a baseline. The way how Scrum Guide gives a reference, it is the same thing is taken as a baseline for giving the recommendation from this Scaled Agile implementation as well. When it comes to the team level, we have Scrum Master and Product Owner as well as the team members, which we already know about the roles, responsibilities of the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and the team. Now, coming to the program level at the Agile Release Train level, we have a RTE Release Train Engineer who can be called or considered as a Chief Scrum Master. When we say the Chief Scrum Master, the RTE's responsibility is to facilitate all the release train level events, starting from PI planning, Scrum of Scrum, Product Owner Sync, Inspector and Up, system demos, preparation for PI planning, all the program level, release train level events, facilitation and coaching, mentoring, assisting the release train is the key responsibilities of a release train engineer. The next role coming is a product management. They could be called as a chief product owners. They could be a group or a committee. It might not be a one single individual playing the role of product manager. Many cases it is observed that a group of individuals coming together and playing the role of a product management at the release train level. Then we have an additional role called as a system architect or engineer. So not each and every team might require to have one system architect or one system engineer from the implementation. For that reason, at a release train level or at a program level, you have a common role defined as a system architect or engineer. Then we have the key role from the overall implementation business owners. They are the sponsors, they are the clients, they are the investors, or some cases they are the actual end users as well. If it is a small startup, this business owners is nothing but the clients who ask us to implement the solution or the development of the product or the implementation. So business owners could be coming from the different perspective. In a regular implementation, they are the ones who directly interact with the actual customers and users, who do the market analysis, research, trends, and who get the sponsorship, the budget approvals, everything from the implementation perspective. So this is all about the essential configuration, which we discussed in our previous video as well. So let's quickly move into the large solution configuration. Before going into the slide, let me show how the large solution comes into context, or what is it from the implementation. So the moment I click on the large solution tab, the large solution framework or the configuration is displayed on the scaledagileframework.com. So here, if you see, the essential still remains same. Right? The essential framework is like a ground floor for a building. Any configuration you go, whether it is large solution, portfolio, full configuration, the essential configuration still remains same as is. That's the reason first step we need to understand how to implement essential configuration for one agile release train, and then the next step we can scale up either to large solution or to portfolio or to full safe as required. Now coming to the large solution, what is the main difference between essential and large solution, or what is the additional aspects coming into it is we will be talking about a solution train, which means still we are talking about one single solution where multiple release trains are working on one common solution, which is called as a large solution, right? And along with the supplier release train. What does that mean? When we say a large solution, we need multiple release trains from the implementation perspective. So we need help for coordination of the third parties, vendors, contractors, and suppliers who are outside the organization. They might not be within us, they might not be working within the organization. So there are the different third parties, vendors, contractors who is outside the organization. Still, they need their help to get that large solution implemented. Right? So the solution intent or the context which we defined initially could be varying as we keep on developing, as we keep on implementing, as we keep on working on the solution implementation. If we go back to the framework again, right, the solution intent initially, the fixed scope is limited, whereas variable is more. Right? We as an organization want to develop or implement a solution. That is the key idea. There is a core idea. There is a core implementation thought process. How we want to implement, we might have to do a trial and error, we might have to do a POC, we might have to do implementation. And that is where this model-based system engineering or set-based solutions, designs will be coming into context, where the teams, once they start implementation, They will try with coming up with different options, different solutions. As an organization, we will pick and choose which configuration or which design, which implementation approach will helpful from proceeding further. So from that perspective, the fixed scope will be keep on increasing and the variable scope will be reducing as we go into the implementation. And the implementation itself will take multiple years at times to get that implementation done. Right? And because of the heavy involvement of the third parties, vendors, suppliers, coordinators, outsiders, we need to focus on the compliance aspects where we need to ensure all the third parties, vendors, suppliers, coordinators are following the same standards, same guidelines, or same tools, same software, same version, same configurations, which is defined as per the SOW, as per the project agreement, as per the timeline, as per the defined from the project scope perspective. Okay, that is what the key intention of the large solution. And as we see here, the enterprise as well as the government came into context, which means there are some organizations where they are only working on one single solution. If that is the case, the context of the enterprise as well as government come into play from the solution implementation perspective. Right? So if we go back to our slide, like the Tesla autonomous vehicles, for example, right? So Tesla came up with the idea, thought process that they want to release the autonomous vehicles. So for that, they are doing all the research analyses in different ways, different perspectives to come up with the one single autonomous vehicle. Right? Then Boeing, in the next slide, we will discuss about the Boeing as well. Why or how Boeing is making use of this large solution for the implementation. Netflix is another example where why we are discussing about Netflix. When we go to portfolio configuration, we will touch base about Amazon as an example for reference. So from that perspective, here we will be touch basing about Netflix. So what is a Netflix? So we all know that Netflix is a online platform where we as a subscriber, where we as a customer and user will be using it to watch movies, web series, episodes, all the programs, right? When we say Netflix, they have only that solution for implementation, right? So whole Netflix organization work on that one single solution, one single product from the implementation perspective, right? The same way, when we go to Amazon example in the portfolio configuration, we will discuss the difference between how large solution versus the portfolio comes into context. Another example from the large solution configuration is like a Hyderabad Metro or maybe any other metro as well. Right? So Hyderabad Metro, L&T as an organization won the bid for constructing Hyderabad Metro, where they had to take the help, support of various departments, various entities, like for the cement suppliers, metro rail coach suppliers, the electricity department, the R&B department, and the multiple government entities to get that one single solution called as Metro launched and implemented and made it available for customers of the city to start making use of it. That is a quick intro about the large solution configuration. So if we start looking at the Boeing as an example, right? So for building one 787 Dreamliner Boeing airplane, this is how all the parts are coming up and which company as well as which country is providing the help, providing the support to build that one single 787 Dreamliner. Right. So as you can see, the countries are very across the world, which includes Korea, US, Japan, Italy, UK, Sweden, France, Australia, Canada. Lots of countries, lots of companies across the world are involved in providing the suppliers, providing the infrastructure, providing the required configurations for building one single 787 Dreamliner. So if that is the context of the organization, if this is how these many number of third parties, vendors, contractors, or suppliers are involved, we now know how much complex, how much complicated, how much critical it is for us to make sure all the suppliers, all the third parties, all the vendors get involved during the planning phase and be aligned with us from our release, from our timelines perspective as an organization. That is where, from the last solution perspective, we have an additional concept called as pre-PI planning and post-PI planning, which means before going for the actual PI planning, we will be doing a preparation for the PI planning in the form of pre-PI planning, where we will be bringing up all the third parties, vendors, suppliers, and all the release trains, the solution level into one common discussion and set the context of what our future plan, how, what is it we achieved till now, what is it our future plan, and where our support is required from our third parties, vendor, suppliers. By taking that as a baseline, we will be passing that to the release trains, where the release trains will be doing the planning based taking the dependencies and everything into consideration. Once the planning is done, again we'll be touch basing and making sure the vendors are aligned with our dependency timelines as part of the post PI plan. So that is a main difference between the essential versus large solution, where essential has one single agile release train, the PA planning, and one single solution. Whereas for the large solution, we have multiple release trains working on one single solution, along with the heavy involvement of the third parties, vendors, and suppliers. Okay. So now let's move on to the portfolio configuration. So when we say the portfolio configuration, again, the essential still remains same. Whereas now we have some other different components or different entities reflected on the framework, where it starts with the enterprise at the level government. And here, this is where the strategic themes, the vision, the operational value streams and the development value streams, and the budgeting and the guardrails and the multiple solutions as well as the associated KPIs came into consideration. What is that? The portfolio. When we say the portfolio, it is where multiple solutions comes under the one single organization. And because of the multiple solutions, multiple products handled within the same organization, we might want to have a strategy, the budget allocations as well as the roadmap. And this is where we start focusing on the communities of practice and the coordination, the cross-regional collaboration and the coordination to share the best practices, standards, and approaches across the organization. Example of a portfolio configuration, some of the companies could be Amazon, Google or Alphabet, and Microsoft or ICICI Bank from Indian context as well, right? Where these organizations has multiple products or multiple solutions within the organization from the implementation perspective, right? So if we take a Amazon as an example, in the last solution we discussed about Netflix. Now, if we take Amazon as an example, let's suppose Netflix announced that by 2025, our vision is to increase 20% of our customers or 10% of our revenue or profits. When we talk about Netflix as a one single large solution, Netflix as an organization has only that single solution to generate these profits or increase their customer base. But whereas if Amazon is taking the same similar guidelines, they could be saying that, hey, when we say the 20% of our customers increase or 10% of the revenue, they have multiple solutions, right? So starting from Amazon Shopping, Amazon Movies, Music, AWS, Amazon Delivery, Kindle, Audible, there are different solutions within which Amazon as an organization are handling. So this vision or this roadmap gets split across, right? So it could be like 4% of customers, 10% of customers, 1% of customer, 6% of customers. So the overall organization goal or vision will get split or will get bifurcated accordingly as per the solutions, as per the implementation approach strategies of the organization. So that is the main difference between the large solution as well as the portfolio configuration. Okay, so On a whole, to give a gist, the essential will still remain same. Whereas once we move ahead into the either the large solution or portfolio, we will be getting a different concepts or different aspects. If it is a large solution, we will be talking about the compliance, model-based system engineering and set-based design and coordination with the third parties, vendors and suppliers. But when it comes to the portfolio level or configuration, because of the multiple solutions within the organization, we have to discuss about the what is the strategies, what is the allocations, what is the budget approvals for each and every solution from the roadmap perspective. And because we have multiple release trains, multiple solutions, this is where the communities of practice, the collaboration between the cross release trains and everything comes into consideration as well. So that's about the different configurations of the Scaled Agile Essential Large Solution as well as the portfolio configuration. Hope you find this information useful. Thank you.